Oi you, it's time for another episode of Dorothy and the Dealer. Let's tune into the conversation.
Hello, Amelia.
Hi, Mitch.
I just feel like I've spent way too much time at you.
I can always tell when you feel that.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning when I've seen you and I haven't seen you for a while, you're just like, oh my God, hi. And we're all like, and at the end you're like, yeah, see ya. It's just like, we've spent how many hours a day, every day together for the last 10 days. And I can tell you're over me.
That was a big yawn I just did there.
I know.
Jesus. Okay.
You're even over me, even communicating with you at the moment, aren't you?
Don't go breaking my heart. You know that one? I won't go breaking your heart. Don't go breaking my heart.
I don't know who sang it. Who sang it?
I've no idea.
Okay.
I won't go breaking your heart. I just heard it on the radio there a minute ago in the office. I thought that's very catchy, isn't it? Maybe we should start with that song.
Okay.
It's
well,
I think it's a very 80s, you know? You got to be clicking fingers together. Do you know what I mean? And then moving in the same
Elton John. We should have known
How
that.
How did I not know that? How did I not know
That's
that?
so funny. Like, we're a bit tired as well. Would you agree? Are you a bit tired?
Yeah. You know, I literally couldn't talk at the restaurant the other day. I couldn't string a sentence. Like, my brain wasn't
finished
moving
STP.
through to my voice. Do you know what I mean?
I know. And it feels a bit like that. And even the weekend, because we got home like just halfway through the weekend and it didn't feel like it was enough time just to go. And it's not because it's like, it's not tiring because it's hard or we don't love it. It's just a lot of time together. Yeah. And it's not you and I together, but a lot of time string together where you're on all of the time and there's less downtime. So I think that's what that is. Yeah. Because then yesterday I was with family and I was like, I was not present. In any way present. It felt weird. Yeah. Anyway, it's all good. So what are we going to talk about today? Manifestation?
Yeah.
This is always an interesting topic. I've got a few questions that we've been asked about manifestation. Yep. So shall we just do it that way?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So what universal laws are involved with manifestation?
Every
Where
universal
do we
law.
start?
Well, every universal law. Excuse me.
I love when you cough it into the podcast mic. It's okay. Amazing.
It's just my COVID-19 has come back on. Every law.
So, I think you have to be a bit more detailed. You can't leave it at that.
But I get it.
We're on a podcast,
I totally get it. Well, you got to see that, we are governed by universal laws and principles, as we have said on millennia amount of times. Universal laws and principles are anthropocentric. The only place they're seen to govern is in the human mind. So they are there for the purpose of guiding us, and every universal law is intrinsically linked to one law, which is the law of the one and the many. Yep. So from the one to the many and back towards the one again. So that's the founding law of all universal laws. And when we talk about the one, we are talking about just pure consciousness, pure energy, pure light. And light comes from its main source, which we can call soul, you can call the logos, and it devolves down. And it goes through certain phases as it comes down. So we can pick up certain colours through our physical body. So starting with red, orange. I'm gonna listen. Do you want me to?
It feels like it's like
it's
taking a long time to get there.
If you want me to answer the question, we need to.
No, go ahead then.
Unless you want to go ahead and answer the question, dude.
No, absolutely. Okay, carry on.
So we pick up vibrational frequency, and for example, do re mi fa sol la ti do. We pick up that through our hearing. We pick up light through our red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So we know then that we are filtering information through our physical form. We're taking in that information through our brain and central nervous system, and laws therefore are there for the purpose of governing us as a physical form. As light devolves down, it becomes denser. As it becomes denser, the word dense means ignorance, meaning ignoring the substance of what we are, which is we are just pure light. If we break a human form down into a subatomic particle, we're made of light. So therefore, when we get two particles and we put them together. So we get two atoms, we put them together, we create helium. From there, we create, all the rest of the natural what we call the periodic table.
Reoccurring elements, yep.
Reoccurring elements, and those elements are governed by laws. Well, we're made up of those elements, and those elements are governed by laws, and those laws are there for the purpose of governing us. So we know that when we're on track, we feel balanced. We don't feel elated or depressed. In fact, we feel grateful. And gratitude, therefore, is the emotional signature that you have created something in your life. So when you get the boyfriend, you feel grateful. So the emotional signature that something has come into your life that you want is gratitude. Therefore, gratitude is the emotional signature that something has come into your life. And gratitude is an expression of appreciation and love. And therefore, in that state of gratitude... Just let me get this right now because my brain is fucking overcooking. In that state of grace and gratitude, we are in tune. When we're out of tune and we're emotional, we feel elated or depressed, happy or sad. And the degree to which we go, the degree to which the physical form goes against those laws is the degree to which we suffer. Hold your hand over a flame, you're going to get burnt. So the objective then is that universal laws are there for the purpose of pushing us back into equanimity. And then when we attract something, when we're in equanimity and we attract something into our lives, we feel grateful. So universal laws then are there for the purpose of pushing us back into equanimity and showing us that we can create anything that we want. So therefore, we are in an intrinsic dance with matter. We're in an intrinsic dance with everything that happens in our surroundings, and our cells broadcast, or the matter that we're made of, our cells broadcast and connect with what is around us. And we know that because that's through our glial cells. Our glial cells are our broadcasting cells, and we can measure now up into about 9 meters outside of the physical form that we are attached to the field and we are influencing the field. And the key to influencing the field and getting what you want is actually to turn up in that gratitude before what you're looking for has turned up. And so...
Well, that's the key. Well, I mean, the question was what universal laws are involved in manifestation.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh, have I completely veered from the question?
I probably.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, I said every single law.
Every single law, and I said which ones.
And I said every single law.
Yeah, I know, but that doesn't help because it's very unspecific. So being specific might be more helpful. But what you're also saying, though... Oh, shit, I've lost it. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is that... oh no! It was an important point. What were you just saying before you?
I was talking about gratitude. We're a broadcasting system. I was talking about glial cells, and I was talking about the field. I was talking about the field of potential.
So,
well, all laws are there for the purpose of governing matter, which is what you are.
Right. So the essence of what you were saying, the essence of what you were saying is we're matter.
Yeah.
Laws are there, or matter needs laws to govern it, because this is why, you throw a pen up in the air, you know that it's going to come back down because it's governed by laws. Mm-hmm. So if laws are matter and we're matter, then we're governed by laws, and therefore everything that we create in our lives is also governed by those same laws. So creation is as a result of your gratitude. So everything that you are grateful for, you manifest. And when you can be grateful for it to such a degree that you know you have created it, like you're grateful for, even if life hasn't actually shown you that it's there, that's true manifestation. So gratitude and manifestation really go hand in hand at the end of the day. Because when you're grateful, you can manifest whatever you like because you're resonated.
You're already there.
You've already manifested it. Yeah.
So the problem that I have with that question is what universal laws is that you can't really segregate individual laws to say this is any more effective than that.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense?
I get
so
that.
It's not really the right thing to do to answer that question. The delusion is everybody goes, what about the law of attraction? Well, the law of attraction, repulsion, it has to go hand in hand with conservation, it has to go hand in hand with transformation, it has to go hand in hand with ephemeralization, it has to go hand in hand with all. The key is to get this one point. Whatever you want to attract in your life, you've got to feel emotionally that you're already there.
Yes.
Before the rest of the world turns up. That's the key to manifesting anything in your life.
So, so then, do you want to touch on the law of attraction in terms of that then?
Well, this is my point, is that if it's in... law
of attraction is kind of I think the way that mainstream view the law of attraction, right, is
which
that
we have covered. I mean,
over time. Yeah,
over
I'm sure
time,
we've covered at some point. But I think it's relevant for this because it's manifestation that we're actually talking about.
Go.
And I think that some people in mainstream see the law of attraction and go, right, if I want money and I'm just going to attract that into my life. If I focus on something, I'm going to attract that into my life. So the problem with that is that when we talk about the law of attraction, we only ever talk about something that we perceive we want in the positive.
But also, we're talking about something. The problem is that we're talking about something that we don't have.
That's the perception is that we don't have it.
So we're promoting an actual gap.
Yes. So this is why the law of attraction doesn't fit with this whole manifestation thing, because if you perceive you have a gap between what you want, between you and what you want, you'll never get there because you haven't accessed the gratitude of actually having received it in the first place.
Unless you're grateful for the gap.
Yes, but then if you're grateful for the gap,
you're just getting more gap.
You're getting more gap.
So, but that's what happens is that people's gratitude is glass ceiling at the gap.
Yes.
At the emotion of the gap. That's why they're hungering for something else. So that's Newtonian law. Newtonian law doesn't have any influence on what we create in things. It's that's Newtonian law of the law of when I cause and effect. When I feel
when the money shows up, then I'll feel rich. Yes. When the partner shows up, then I'll feel loved.
That's the problem with most people's view
on manifestation.
Is that they have to understand you've got to cause the effect, which is you've got to turn up in that appreciation. And when you're in that state of appreciation, you are fluidly and congruently tangling with the field.
Yeah.
You're in the field of potential, and the field of potential is a light field. And we can measure it, as I said, up to 9 meters, that we know when we're in that state of absolute equanimity and gratitude, we are broadcasting into the field and we are in an intrinsic dance with matter and we're creating a reality. And it's momentary, and for some people, they never even see it. It's like people don't realize the reason you're wearing the clothes that you're wearing is because you manifested them through that process. But they don't even can get to the end of their days and never understand at all that they were creating their reality. They feel as if it happened to them. They weren't happening to life. But you are happening to life. And the key in that is, as we said already, you've got to feel grateful. Gratitude is the key to everything. So we know that when we're in that state of gratitude, we are timeless, spaceless, chargeless, massless. We're in that state of absolute energy. We're already there. And that whatever you're looking for is making its way towards you right now. And the things that govern that and to keep you in that space of gratitude, and when you're not in that space of gratitude, the things that the world does to keep you in that space of gratitude is it creates laws. So you the degree to which you suffer is directly proportionate to the degree to your ignorance of the laws and the degree to which you violate them.
Yeah. So the easiest way to explain that is that there's the law. Like if you put your hand over the flame, you're going to get burnt. Yeah. And the longer you hold your hand over the flame, you're going to get burnt. Yeah. To a greater degree based on how long you hold your hand over the flame. So the same laws, these laws that are governing matter and are governing us, they're the same thing. If you don't understand the laws, and you're violating them all of the time, you're getting the repercussions. And the problem is, if you're not understanding the laws, it's all happening. You feel like it's happening to you, and you don't understand that it's actually happening for you. Okay, the next question is manifestation backed by science? And I think we've kind of answered that by the question or the answers that you kind of gave just there. Would you agree? Okay, so this is cool. So the next one is, can manifestation backfire? I think when you answer that, I think true manifestation doesn't backfire because you've already got the understanding that gratitude creates your reality. Do you know what I mean? Like the gratitude helps you bring it in. But manifestation in what you would like that mainstream view of manifestation, right, where it is the law of attraction, right, that kind of can backfire on you because that's only a part of the it's only one part of the equation. You don't realise that you're actually acknowledging a gap instead of actually getting grateful for it.
So if you think about attraction repulsion, okay, so the law of attraction, when it was originally promoted, was not correct because it has an opposing side called the law of repulsion. And the best way to look at that is, in terms of kind of backfire on you, you got to think of it like this. Can you have the pleasure of having money without the pain of it?
Of course not.
Can you have the pleasure of having a lover without the pain of it?
No.
But if you're thinking you're going to have the pleasure of money without the pain of it, the backfire is you never accounted for the pain.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you're going to have the pleasure of a lover without the pain of it, the point is you never accounted for the pain of having a lover.
But don't you think that gets sorted by the fact that when you're actually grateful for it, don't you account for both of those anyway?
Yes, you do. But yes, you do, of course. But if you don't understand how you create things, if you don't understand that process, and you actually create things from a balanced perspective, knowing that, when you get the Lamborghini, right, you're going to feel great, but you're also going to you might feel a bit of guilt, you might feel ridiculed, you might feel slammed, and being able to maintain the praise and reprimand of achieving your dreams is very important to understand.
Yeah.
But if you've bought into, this is why people don't get their dreams fulfilled, because they bought into the illusion that it's only going to be one way when it turns up. So the universe goes, I can't give it to you. This is the law of learning to handle what you got. If you don't handle what you got, you don't get any more, because you're not able to fucking handle it. Why would it give you a Lamborghini if you're saying, oh, when I get the Lamborghini, I'm only going to be praised?
So do you think that actual then manifestation, going consciously through the process of actually being grateful for something and actually then it's showing up, do you think that can backfire?
No.
So what we're talking about is not, when we're saying it can backfire, we're saying yes, because you've thought you've manifested, but it's not really a true manifestation.
That's right. When
you've truly manifested something, there's the balance there. You see the balance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. What are the best methods? What methods are best for manifestation? Writing, visualizing, speaking it out loud. I think. Do you want to talk about the formula?
Yeah.
Because I think that makes sense. I think there's 7 steps.
Yeah.
That actually show. Like the process, and I think everybody does those steps naturally. If you're manifesting and you've manifested something in your life, at some level you've done this unconsciously or subconsciously.
Yeah.
If you want to be conscious about what you're manifesting, these are the steps you've got to take to actually manifest them, right? Mm-hmm. So the first thing you've got to do is the first step is thinking about. Nothing happens without thought, right? But the thought has to happen with clear intention. So you have to be really clear about what you're wanting to bring into your life, right? And I think with that, it's about being clear what you'd love and the positive and negative ramifications of having that.
Yeah.
Which is what we were saying anyway.
Yeah.
Because then there's no emotional attachment. You're not doing it for better. You're just manifesting it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, the second step is you have to see about. So in some way, shape or form, you have to visualize it, right? And you have to see it. When you are, a really good example for you is when you went to buy your Porsche, the first Porsche you ever bought, right? You thought about it, you saw about it. And the next thing you got to do is feel about. So you've got to resonate with what is the feeling that you're going to have as a result of that. And don't expect to wait until the thing comes, until you feel it. You've got to start to feel it now.
Yeah.
And you have to start to resonate with that. I remember when I was going to live in my apartment, I really wanted to manifest living in this place. Every day after work, I would go down there, park my car, imagine myself going into the driveway, park my car, and I'd walk around the area, just imagining that I lived there and what feeling that would bring me, right?
That's a really, really wise move. Like if you want to move into a certain suburb, a very smart move is, and you want to, you want to get into Millionaire Row, the best thing to do is just every Sunday, just keep going to Millionaire Row. Home opens, walking around those home opens, and start to feel that sensation like, hey, I could see myself sleeping in that bed. Hey, I could see myself sitting on that chair. I could see myself showering in that chair. That's really the key to it.
One of the things that you used to do, even before we owned this complex here, before you had purchased it, you came and you sat here and you felt what it would be like to run seminars from here every single morning, right?
I actually got the keys off the real estate agent, and she would ring me every day complaining to me and telling me, I just keep saying, no, it's my building, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
They're my keys anyway, don't worry about it. She
Yeah.
couldn't comprehend it. She was like, no, you have to bring back the keys. And you have to bring them back now. I was like, no, I don't. There's no need to bring them back. Just get me the contract. It'll be fine.
And then the next one is asking about. So asking about is about like just getting information, finding out information, and actually asking questions around the situation. And the next one's important as well. The next one is acting about. So that's acting about is do, write, and talk about.
Yeah.
So it's actually doing it, like, writing about it, talking about it. Like doing was me going down to the thing. Yours was sitting in this room. When you were manifesting your Porsche, your first Porsche, you went and drove a Porsche.
Yep.
And then every morning you'd wake up and you'd sit at the side of the bed and imagine yourself driving the Porsche, going through the feelings, all the process. And that was a part of the process of acting about, right, for you.
You've got to act as if it's happening.
You've got to act as if it's happening. You've got to feel it as if it's happening.
You've got to show up as that person.
You've got to show up as that person, 100%. So step number 5 is receiving about. So you've got to acknowledge your worth in that. You've got to acknowledge that you're worthy of receiving, and you've got to be open to receiving. If you're not open to receiving and you're shut down from that, then it's not going to work for you. And then final step is being thankful about it. So you've got to be thankful about it. So the thankful about it doesn't happen once you've got it. The thankful happens before
totally.
the physical shows up.
Yeah.
So you're thankful about it truly and grateful before life shows the physical of it. So if you're waiting for the money to show up before you're rich, right, then you basically are in the realm of cause and effect. You're waiting for something to happen before you feel anything, instead of feeling it, experiencing it, living it, being grateful for it.
That's right.
And then it's only a matter of time before the money shows up.
Yeah.
And then the money showing up is like the last thing that happens to prove that you've manifested.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not a part of the manifestation process.
That's right. The last thing to show up is actually you're no longer manifesting.
Correct.
So it's not actually part of the process.
You've already manifested.
It's just an exterior, the way in which the exterior world actually lets you know that you've done good. And everything a person has, they followed those steps.
Yeah.
Every single thing, everything from the shirt on a person's back, they've gone through all of those steps.
Yeah. The next question here is, where do most people go wrong with manifestation? And I'm going to say, I think there's 2 steps. I think people try and get the thing and think that that thing is going to help them feel something. So I really think people miss the feeling step. I think a lot of people will talk about it and act about it, but they don't feel it, and therefore I don't feel like they're open to receiving it as a result of that, because they haven't allowed themselves to truly feel what it would be like to have that in a balanced way. And I then think that people aren't grateful for them. And I don't think people understand that being grateful before it's arrived is such an important part of the manifestation process.
Yeah, I one of the things I say at just a little bit of a deeper level is, if the field is the field of absolute potential, what that means is that every single dream and aspiration has already been met. Every single desire that you have has already been fulfilled. The gap between where you are and experiencing that is dependent on your understanding of how the laws work, but also is based on the amount of gratitude you have for being there. So the field of potential means that it's the field of actual. Everything has already happened. So your dreams are already fulfilled. What you've turned up here to learn has already been, it's contractual. It's already written. But the journey is yours. That journey to getting there is entirely yours. And the key to making that journey extremely humbling and wonderful is allowing yourself to feel grateful all of the time. One of the things I said a couple of podcasts ago is I spoke about the fact that humans are matter manipulators. That's what we do. And our purpose of turning up in the world is to manipulate matter. And the way in which we manipulate matter, we know now, is through the expression of gratitude and congruency and feeling. You know, our feelings are chemical compounds. They have chemical compounds attached to them, so they're fucking particles. So those particles are happening. You are, you know, broadcasting into the atmosphere, and it is, you know, it's got your back to achieve anything that you want. But the key is to actually really, really understand that this field of potential, all your dreams and aspirations are already answered. You know, and what if you were to live in that space? You know, what if you were to truly live there?
I think that we speak about often, like what Joe Dispenza talks about that electromagnetic aspect. So when you're thinking something, you have a thought and you broadcast that thought, but there's no point in broadcasting that thought unless you can bring it back to you.
Yeah.
So the electro is the thought, the magnetic is bringing it back to you, and that bringing back to you comes with the feeling. So if you're trying to manifest wealth and riches or a partner or any of those things, and you don't perceive you're worthy of it, and therefore you're accessing feelings of I don't deserve at a subconscious level, then you are not going to manifest the thing that you put out in there, because what you're bringing back from the field is I don't deserve.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to understand that you have to be aligned with whatever it is that you want to receive, and I think people can forget that or don't realise that at subconscious level they don't feel worthy, they don't feel their underlying feeling isn't one of I deserve.
The other thing is that one of the reasons people give up on, you know, working on themselves sometimes is because of exactly that. They think that your conscious feelings and your conscious voice is in charge of it.
Has any say of it.
But it doesn't have any say over it at all. It's the subconscious emotions that are attached to an innermost dominating thought. If the internal emotions, not external or not conscious emotions, but subconscious emotions are not aligned or congruent with the dream, then that's why you'll sabotage things. So you'll be consciously going, yeah, but I try to manifest every day, and I try to. Well, a wise thing to do is stop and quieten your mind and ask yourself, okay, how are you speaking to yourself? Ask yourself the bigger questions. How do you really feel about yourself? What is this internal voice saying to you? How is it whispering to you? What is that internal monologue saying to you? Even as you listen to this, what's it saying? Is it saying, "Oh, this is bullshit. What am I doing? This is wasting my time. I shouldn't be listening to this." Yeah, man, you've manifested loads of things. Listen to what it's saying to you, and the key is to quieten that internal voice, and then match it with the emotional frequency that you would experience if you were achieving your dreams and aspirations. And that is one of true gratitude, where tears are rolling down the side of your face and you're like, wow, you know, look how life played out. Look how it brought everything to me. I could never have predicted how life was going to turn up, because that's when we know
we're truly manifesting. When it
shows up in ways that you just
don't expect.
You could never have predicted.
So the last question.
And document those ways.
Well, I think documenting is important, because when you document, you're taking from the metaphysical, bringing it into physical. You're writing it down. You're making it. Giving it form in some way.
Somebody said to me last week in one of our 7-day events, "What do you think of journaling?" And I was like, well, when we're in a state of gratitude, we can't talk. Right? So therefore, everything, a lot of the time, I would like to see what you're journaling. What spells are you casting on the universe?
If you're just talking about what's wrong and all the problems and stuff like that.
That's what you're creating.
That's what you're creating.
That's what you're creating.
It's a part of the manifestation process, yeah. So you have to be really conscious about the inspiration that you're pouring in if you're going to be doing some journaling.
There's a really cool exercise I learned many years ago from Michael Domenico Rowland called 70 times 7. And what he tasked me to do was every day for 7 days, write down 70 things, 70 affirmations, an affirmation that I want. Just one affirmation, 70 times a day for 7 days. And every time you write the affirmation, write underneath it the first thing that comes to your mind. Then the affirmation, then the first thing that comes to your mind. Then the affirmation, then the first thing that comes to your mind. And that will show you what your mind is saying to you around the affirmation. And eventually, something really cool happens. I won't tell you what happens, but something really, really cool happens. And but it was a great example of how life is listening. The stuff that comes up, you're like, fucking hell, where did that come from? You know, but it's a great way to be able to quieten your mind and keep your focus on what you want.
Cool. The last question is, what's the best thing you've manifested? That's hard because there's lots of things, right? But there's lots of things. Like I can talk about, you know, trips. I can talk about all sorts of stuff. I think two that come up often for me is me being able to go to Tomorrowland that year because I had that. I didn't know how that was going to come about. And there were all these things in the way of that happening. Like I didn't get a chance. The first time we went to get tickets, the site crashed. When we went to get tickets again, we were in India and there was no internet connection, so I missed out on all the tickets. But I still just knew I was going, and there's a synchronistic series of events that made it happen. Do you know what I mean? And in the way that I wanted it to happen. So I think that was a cool one because you just really see how life has got your back, you know, if you've made that call. My apartment was another one for me. Like I really was really, really clear about what I wanted and what I wasn't going to negotiate on, and it just happened. And I set myself a date to manifest it, and I signed the contract the day before. Right. Wow. So I had everything set up and it just all fell into place. And every apartment in that building was disappearing, but I was I don't call it luck, but it was just how it was meant to be, the way that this apartment was available to me at the time I needed it to be available. It was very, very cool. So those two things I talk about often because I really like how the synchronistic series of events around them made them happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. God, I just feel, in answering that question, I can't answer that question. You know, I've manifested so many.
That's what I mean. There's so many things. But stories we talk about often is the Porsche because it's a good example of it.
That was cool.
This building because you came and sat in it. You came and those sorts of things. We talk about those often, but there's so many. It's very difficult to.
But the thing about it is, it just becomes a natural part of
of course
of life. One of the things recently was the bike stable. That was
being able to
do that was just amazing. You know how that came about. I was like, God, this is just such a great business. I'd really like to get into this business. And then I'd had a conversation who knew one of the owners of TBE, which was the Bicycle Entrepreneurs. And he just sold out his company, and I was like, God, this is just such the right time to get into this. And then
everything fell into place for it to happen.
For it to go click, 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 click. And that's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's been pretty cool.
It's cool when it happens, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's good to play with life that way.
Yeah.
And realise that you're
kids to do it.
And it's good to realise that you're in charge of that, you know.
And the simple thing to take away from this is just feel the gratitude as if the event's occurred. That's it.
That's it.
Feel the gratitude as if the event has occurred.
Manifestation in a nutshell.
Yeah, and anything that's in a nutshell
should stay in a nutshell. Very good.
Even if you live the most extraordinary life, there is always more to learn. This is why tens of thousands of people are using MJB Seminars techniques to hack their consciousness and bridge the gap from where they are to where they actually want to be.
MJB Seminars use cutting-edge transformational processes that are science-based and backed to help people break through subconscious barriers and limiting beliefs in order to reset, reboot, and live inspired. If you'd like to know more today, Google search MJB Seminars Bridge the Gap, click on the first link and watch the video.
Now, for simply watching the video, you will also receive a complimentary coaching session with one of our master coaches valued at over $600 to help you get traction in your life today. Remember, live life inspired.